The golden flagship of the Selenar hegemony moved silently through space above the blue-green world of Taurus Prime. Commander Day watched from the main viewport, his silver skin catching the light from the system's twin suns. His tall, slender form towered over the other officers on the bridge. The Selenar were proud of their appearance, metallic skin that seemed to shimmer and change color slightly depending on the light, eyes that glowed with an inner light, and graceful movements that made other species seem clumsy in comparison. "Another successful conquest for the archives," Day said, his voice smooth and confident. "How are the Taurians responding to our presence?" Officer Sook approached with a data tablet. "Very well, Commander. They have already built 3 new temples in your honor. The northern continent has completely accepted our divinity story." Day smiled. This was how the Selenar had built their empire, not just through superior weapons and technology, but through careful manipulation. They arrived at developing worlds, demonstrated power that seemed magical to the natives, and positioned themselves as gods. It was far easier to rule planets when the people believed you controlled their destiny. "And the resource extraction?" Day asked. "On schedule," replied Officer Sook. "The Taurians are delivering the rare metals we requested. They believe the materials are offerings that will bring good fortune." This was the true purpose behind the Selenar's divine act. Each conquered world provided resources, labor, and strategic positions for further expansion. The Selenar hegemony now spans 17 star systems, with the native populations all serving their gods without question. Officer Tay, who managed the religious programming, joined them at the viewport. "The Taurian priests are spreading our messages exactly as instructed. We've established worship centers in every major city. Our approval rating is nearly perfect." "Any resistance?" Day asked, though he expected little. The Selenar carefully studied each world before arrival, ensuring their technology would appear sufficiently advanced to inspire awe rather than suspicion. "Minimal," Tay replied. "A small group in the southern islands questions our divinity, but they are few and isolated. The majority of Taurians accept us completely." Day nodded with satisfaction. The Taurians were a simple species, blue-skinned humanoids with webbed hands and large eyes. Their technology level was early industrial, making them perfect subjects. Advanced enough to extract resources efficiently, but not developed enough to question the miracles the Selenar performed. The bridge doors slid open as Science Director June entered. "Commander, you should see this report. The Taurians believe we control their weather now. When we used atmospheric processors to clear pollution over their capital, they thought we were answering prayers." "Excellent," Day replied. "The more aspects of their lives we appear to control, the deeper their devotion grows." This was the Selenar method, find worlds just beginning to understand science, demonstrate capabilities beyond their comprehension, and establish themselves as divine beings. Far less messy than open conquest. No need for large occupation forces when the population willingly served. Officer Min approached from the communications station, her expression concerned. "Commander, we've detected an unusual energy signature at the edge of the system." "Unusual how?" Day asked, his interest piqued. "It appears to be a ship, sir. But the configuration doesn't match any known species in our database." Day's eyes narrowed. "Put it on the main display." The viewscreen shifted to show a distant object moving toward Taurus Prime. As the sensors focused, the image became clearer, a massive vessel, dark and angular. Unlike the smooth, organic shapes of Selenar ships, this vessel was blocky and utilitarian. It bristled with what appeared to be weapons systems, though different from any the Selenar had encountered. "Size comparison?" Day asked, feeling the first twinge of concern. "It's larger than our flagship, Commander. Nearly twice the mass." The bridge fell silent. The Selenar had encountered many spacefaring species, but none with ships that could match their own. "Open communications," Day ordered. The communications officer tried several standard protocols. "No response, Commander." "What does it say on the hull?" Day asked, pointing to markings visible along the ship's side. The image enhanced, revealing characters in an unknown language. Below them, universal translator symbols identified the vessel, TSS Dauntless, Earth Defense Force. Earth? Day repeated. I know of no such world. The unknown ship continued its approach, massive engines glowing with power. For the first time in his long career, Commander Day felt something unfamiliar, uncertainty. The Selenar were gods to primitive worlds. But what were they to whoever commanded this imposing warship? Battle stations, Day said quietly. Let's show these newcomers the power of the divine Selenar hegemony. Admiral Kong stood tall on the bridge of the TSS Dauntless, his weathered face illuminated by the glow of tactical displays. The massive human warship had entered the Taurian system after detecting distress signals that Earth's long-range arrays had picked up months earlier. What they found confirmed their suspicions: another world under alien occupation. Status report, Kong ordered, his voice calm despite the tension filling the bridge. Lieutenant Mina checked her console. 7 alien vessels in formation around the third planet, sir. Our scans show they're using their technology to control the planet's population. The natives appear to be in a pre-space development stage. Classic exploitation scenario, Kong muttered. Humanity had encountered this before. Advanced species taking advantage of developing worlds. It was precisely why Earth had built its defense fleet. After nearly destroying themselves in centuries of warfare, humans had finally united and turned their military expertise toward protection rather than conquest. Sir, we're being hailed, reported Communications Officer G. On screen, Kong replied. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a tall, silver-skinned being with glowing eyes. The alien stood in what appeared to be an opulent command center, surrounded by similarly metallic beings. Unknown vessel, the alien spoke in a voice that seemed designed to inspire awe. I am Commander Day of the Divine Selenar Hegemony. You have entered sacred space. Identify yourself immediately and prepare to demonstrate proper reverence. Admiral Kong raised an eyebrow. This is Admiral Kong of the Earth Defense Force vessel Dauntless. We come in peace, but we've detected signs of interference with the native civilization of this system. The alien commander's expression shifted subtly. The affairs of the Selenar and our subjects are not your concern. The Taurians benefit from our divine guidance. Divine? Kong repeated. Interesting choice of words. Lieutenant Mina leaned closer to the admiral. Sir, we're detecting energy buildup in their weapons systems. Kong nodded but kept his eyes on the screen. Commander Day, Earth operates under the Sentient Species Protection Protocol. We respectfully request that you cease technological exploitation of pre-space civilizations. The Selenar commander's eyes flashed brighter. You dare make demands of gods? Perhaps you need a demonstration of our power. He turned to one of his officers. Show them. The communication ended abruptly. On the tactical display, 2 Selenar vessels broke formation and moved toward the Dauntless. They're charging weapons, reported Tactical Officer Sun, his fingers moving across his controls. Energy signatures suggest directed plasma technology. Kong remained calm. Defensive systems active. No offensive measures yet. The bridge crew watched as brilliant beams of energy shot from the Selenar ships, striking the Dauntless shields. The human warship shuddered slightly, but the advanced defensive systems, products of centuries of human conflict and subsequent technological development, held firm. Shield integrity at 97%, Sun announced. Their weapons are advanced but not as powerful as they seem to believe. They're hailing us again, G said. Commander Day's face reappeared, now showing confusion. Impossible. No vessel has ever withstood our divine wrath. Admiral Kong leaned forward. We are not here to fight, Commander. But neither will we allow the exploitation of developing species. Humanity learned through bitter experience where such actions lead. Humanity, Day repeated the word as if tasting it. You are not recorded in our archives. A primitive species should not possess such defensive capability. We are young in space, Kong acknowledged, but old in war. Our history forced us to develop these technologies. The Selenar commander's expression hardened. You will withdraw from this system immediately. The Taurians are under our protection. Protection? Or control? Khan asked. Our scans show resource extraction operations. The Taurians appear to be treated as laborers, not equals. Several other Selenar officers had gathered around Commander Day, speaking urgently in their language. Something about the Dauntless clearly troubled them. This is your final warning, Day said, his voice less confident than before. Depart or face destruction. Admiral Khan sighed. We will not leave the Taurians to be exploited. But we offer peaceful dialogue. Perhaps we can reach an agreement that benefits all parties. The communication cut off again. On the tactical display, all 7 Selenar vessels now move to surround the Dauntless. They're all charging weapons, Admiral, Sun reported. Full attack formation. Defensive posture only, Kong ordered. Let them see that their divine wrath has limits. The space around the Dauntless lit up as all 7 Selenar ships fired simultaneously. The human vessel's shields flared brilliantly but held firm against the assault. When the barrage ended, the bridge was silent for a moment. Shield integrity at 81%, Sun finally reported. No critical damage. Admiral Khan nodded. Send a message to Commander Day. Tell him we remain open to dialogue when he's ready to speak as equals, not as gods. As the message was transmitted, Kong looked at the image of the blue world beyond. Somewhere down there, a species was about to learn that their gods were merely advanced aliens, and that the universe contained powers even the Selenar had never imagined. Commander Day stood rigid on the bridge of his flagship, disbelief evident in his glowing eyes. The viewscreen showed the impossible. The human warship Dauntless remained intact after a full barrage from 7 Selenar vessels. How, he demanded, turning to his weapons officer. How is this possible? Officer Sook's fingers moved rapidly across her control panel. Their shield technology is unlike anything we've encountered. It appears to absorb and redistribute energy rather than simply blocking it. The Selenar had conquered 17 star systems without meaningful resistance. Their technology had always been superior, their weapons overwhelming. This unexpected challenge shook Day's confidence. All vessels, prepare second attack pattern, he ordered. Focus all energy weapons on the same shield sector. Across the Selenar fleet, gunners aligned their targeting systems. At Day's signal, they fired again, this time concentrating their assault on a single point of the human vessel's defensive field. On the Dauntless, Admiral Khan felt the ship shudder more noticeably. Shield integrity at 62% in Sector 7, reported Tactical Officer Sunday. They're using a coordinated attack pattern. Khan nodded. Clever. But predictable. He turned to his executive officer. It's time to demonstrate that we're not defenseless. Target their weapons systems only, precision strikes. Yes, Admiral, the officer replied, relaying the orders. Unlike the energy weapons of the Selenar, the Dauntless deployed something that confused the alien sensors, solid projectiles, accelerated to incredible speeds. These kinetic penetrators punched through the Selenar shields, which were designed to stop energy attacks. Commander Day watched in horror as one of his vessels lost its main weapon array in a shower of debris. What are they firing? Primitive projectiles? Yes, Commander, Officer Sook confirmed. But accelerated to near-relativistic speeds. Our shields aren't configured to stop physical objects moving that fast. Before Day could respond, 2 more Selenar ships reported critical damage to their weapons systems. The humans were not trying to destroy the vessels, only disarm them. Adjust shields. Day ordered frantically. Reconfigure to block physical projectiles. That will weaken our protection against energy weapons, his chief engineer warned. Do it. The Selenar ships shimmered as their defensive fields changed configuration. The Dauntless immediately switched tactics, firing focused electromagnetic pulses that now penetrated the weakened energy shields, disabling the Selenar ship's control systems. Within minutes, 5 of the 7 divine vessels floated powerless in space. On the flagship, Day gripped his command chair as the lights flickered. Status report. 2 ships still operational, including ours, Officer Sook reported, her voice shaking. The others are disabled but intact. The humans are being careful. The communications system chimed. Admiral Kang's face appeared on the main view screen. Commander Day, the human said calmly. This demonstration can end now. We have no desire to destroy your vessels or harm your crews. Day's silver face contorted with rage. You cannot defeat the divine Selenar. We have conquered worlds beyond counting. Kang's expression remained steady. You've conquered developing worlds that couldn't fight back. You've played gods to species that didn't know better. But humanity learned warfare the hard way, fighting ourselves for centuries before reaching the stars. The Admiral's words struck Day like physical blows. For the first time, he faced an enemy who wasn't awed by Selenar technology. What do you want? Day finally asked, his voice quieter. First, the truth for the Taurians, Kang replied. They deserve to know you're not gods, just travelers like us. Second, an end to forced labor and resource theft. Third, reparations for the damage you've caused. Day laughed bitterly. And if we refuse? In response, the Dauntless fired again, a single precision shot that disabled the weapons system on Day's flagship without harming the crew compartments. Then we continue this demonstration until you have nothing left but life support, Kang said. And we take our evidence to the Taurians directly. The bridge fell silent as the Selenar officers looked to their commander. Their entire strategy across multiple star systems depended on the illusion of divine power. If one world learned the truth, you would destroy everything we've built, Day said quietly. You built it on lies, Kang countered. It was always going to fall eventually. Officer Sook stepped forward. Commander, our remaining operational vessel reports the humans have launched smaller craft toward Taurus Prime. They appear to be landing parties. Day closed his eyes briefly. The humans weren't waiting for his decision, they were already moving to expose the Selenar deception to the Taurians. You don't understand what you're doing, Day tried one last time. The primitive species need guidance. They benefit from our rule. Admiral Kang shook his head. We've seen your guidance. Strip mining operations. Forced labor camps. Religious programming to ensure compliance. That's not guidance, it's exploitation. The tactical display showed more small craft launching from the Dauntless, heading toward different population centers on Taurus Prime. Commander Day, who had presented himself as a god to countless worlds, now faced a power greater than his own. The reckoning had arrived, not with divine judgment, but with human determination. Stand down all remaining weapons, he finally ordered, his voice hollow. Prepare to negotiate terms. The village square of Taurus Prime's largest settlement had never been so crowded. Blue-skinned Taurians gathered by the thousands, their large eyes fixed on the platform where the gods had once delivered commands. Today, different figures stood there, humans in dark uniforms, alongside Commander Day and several Selenar officers under guard. Captain Hannah of the Dauntless Ground Forces surveyed the crowd. Her team had spent 3 days establishing contact with Taurian resistance groups who had questioned the Selenar's divine claims. Now those brave skeptics stood with her, ready to reveal the truth. Are you certain this is wise? Commander Day asked quietly. They are not ready for such knowledge. Hannah gave him a stern look. They were ready enough when you needed their labor and resources. Taurian leader Rock stepped forward. Unlike most of his people who wore simple cloth garments, Rock had dressed in the traditional armor of Taurian warriors. Armor that had been forbidden by the gods 4 generations. People of Taurus, Rock called out, his deep voice carrying across the square. Today we learn truth. Today we see with clear eyes. A murmur ran through the crowd. Many looked fearful, others confused. To question the divinity of the Selenar was unthinkable to most. Captain Hannah activated a holographic projector. Above the crowd, images appeared, Selenar ships being disabled by the Dauntless, Commander Day surrendering, and finally, medical scans showing the biological nature of the divine beings. The Selenar are not gods, Hannah explained through a translator. They are travelers from another world, like us. They have advanced technology, but they are mortal beings. Gasps and cries of disbelief rose from the crowd. Some Taurians fell to their knees, others shouted in anger. The foundations of their society were crumbling before them. A Taurian priest pushed forward. This is blasphemy. The Divine Ones have guided us for generations. They have enslaved you, Hannah corrected firmly. Your planet's resources have been stripped to build their empire. Your people work in mines and factories while the Selenar live in luxury. Commander Day stepped forward, his silver skin catching the sunlight. It is true, he admitted, his voice heavy. We are not divine beings. We are the Selenar people, travelers from distant stars. A shocked silence fell over the square. To hear such words from the mouth of their god stunned the Taurians beyond response. Captain Hannah nodded to another human officer, who activated a different display. This one showed Taurian history images recovered from archives the Selenar had suppressed. Ancient Taurian achievements, their own developing technologies, their true cultural heritage. Before the Selenar came, you were developing your own path, Hannah explained. They diverted your natural progress to serve their needs. Rock raised his hand, displaying a small device. The humans have shared knowledge with us. Technology that belongs to all people, not just the few. The device projected schematics for water purification systems, medical equipment, and agricultural tools, technologies the Selenar had withheld to maintain control. In the back of the crowd, a commotion began. A group of Taurians approached, carrying large crates. These were miners from the northern region, bringing evidence of how the sacred offerings they collected were actually being used to build Selenar weapons and ships. We found these plans, one miner announced, holding up technical documents. Our sacred duty was building components for their war machines. Commander Day watched silently as his carefully constructed world of divine rule collapsed. 17 systems had fallen to the Selenar using these same tactics. None had ever learned the truth until now. In the following days, similar scenes played out across Taurus Prime. Human teams, working alongside Taurian resistance members, revealed the truth about the false gods. Medical teams treated conditions the Selenar had deliberately left untreated to maintain dependence. Engineers taught Taurians how to repurpose Selenar technology for their own benefit. 1 week after the revelation, Captain Hannah stood with Rock on a hillside overlooking the main settlement. Below, Taurians were removing Selenar religious symbols from buildings and replacing them with their own ancient cultural artworks. Some still worship them, Rock noted sadly. Change is difficult. Hannah nodded. It will take time. Freedom always does. On the Dauntless, Admiral Khan received reports from other worlds in the Selenar hegemony. As news spread of the gods being defeated, uprisings had begun on multiple planets. The careful deception maintained across 17 systems was unraveling rapidly. Commander Day, now confined to quarters on the human vessel, stared out a viewport at Taurus Prime below. You've destroyed the order we built, he told Admiral Khan during an interview. There will be chaos. Perhaps, Khan acknowledged. But it will be their own chaos, not your order. That's what freedom means. As the Dauntless prepared to visit other worlds in the former Selenar hegemony, the first Taurian spacecraft in generations launched from the surface, a small research vessel built with recovered knowledge and human assistance. 6 months had passed since the Dauntless first entered Taurian space. The Great Hall that once served as the Selenar's divine audience chamber now hosted representatives from 15 different species. They sat around a massive circular table made from native Taurian wood instead of the imported metals the Selenar had preferred. Admiral Khan stood at the entrance, observing the historic gathering. Beside him, Captain Hannah reviewed notes on her tablet. I never expected to see this when we first arrived, Khan admitted quietly. Neither did they, Hannah replied, gesturing to the diverse beings engaged in animated discussion. The Taurians, blue-skinned and proud, had regained their confidence. Their representative, Rock, wore traditional leadership garments rather than the religious robes the Selenar had forced upon them. Beside them sat delegates from other liberated worlds, the insectoid Vex from the third system, the avian Peleth from the ninth, and many others, each with their own story of divine oppression. Most surprising was the presence of several Selenar, their silver skin no longer adorned with the elaborate godly decorations they once favored. Their leader, former Officer Sook, had rejected Commander Day's methods and now worked to rebuild Selenar society on honest terms. "The trade agreement is settled," announced Rock as Admiral Kong approached the table. "All 15 worlds have signed. Resources will flow based on fair exchange, not worship or tribute." The Admiral nodded. Earth is pleased to witness this historic moment. After the initial liberation of Taurus Prime, the Dauntless had visited other worlds in the former hegemony. Each planet followed a similar pattern: shock at learning the truth, anger at the deception, and finally, determination to build something new. The Selenar Empire had collapsed within weeks as the divine beings found themselves powerless without their carefully constructed mythology. Commander Day himself sat at the far end of the table, his once proud posture now subdued. As part of the peace terms, he served as advisor to the Transition Council, forced to help dismantle the very empire he had helped build. "Our defensive network is operational," reported a Peleth representative, her feathers ruffling with pride. "The technology shared by the humans has been adapted to our ships. Never again will we be defenseless against those who would claim godhood." This was perhaps the most significant change in the region. Human engineers had worked with local scientists to develop protection systems tailored to each species' existing technology. Unlike the Selenar, who hoarded advanced knowledge, Earth freely shared defensive capabilities. "What of the deep space signals?" asked Rock, turning to the human delegation. "Have you identified the source?" Admiral Kong activated a holographic display in the center of the table. It showed a star map with several highlighted regions. "We believe there are at least 3 other advanced civilizations operating similar schemes in nearby sectors," he explained. "The pattern matches what we found here: technologically superior groups exploiting developing worlds through religious or quasi-religious control." The gathered representatives exchanged concerned glances. "Then our alliance must grow stronger," Sook said, speaking for the reformed Selenar. "We know these tactics from the inside. We can help prepare other worlds." It was a remarkable transformation. In just half a year, the Selenar had begun the painful process of confronting their imperial past. Not all had accepted this new reality. Many former commanders had fled to the outer systems, but those who remained seemed genuinely committed to redemption. As the meeting concluded, Admiral Kong walked with Day to the observation deck overlooking the capital city. Below, Taurians went about their daily lives, but with a new energy. Schools that once taught Selenar worship now taught science and history. Factories that once produced tribute now created goods for local use and fair trade. "You must be pleased with yourself," Day said, breaking the silence. "Destroying centuries of order in a single moment." Kong shook his head. "We didn't destroy it, Commander. You did, the moment you decided to rule through deception rather than cooperation." "And you humans never conquer? Never exploit?" Day challenged. "We did," Kong admitted. "Our history is full of such shame. That's why we recognize it so easily in others. That's why we built ships like the Dauntless, not to conquer, but to prevent conquest." Below them, a small group of Taurian children played in a park that had once been forbidden ground, reserved only for divine contemplation. Their laughter drifted up to the observation deck. "Perhaps there is wisdom in that," Day said quietly. As the sun set over Taurus Prime, ships from 15 worlds orbited peacefully above. Among them was the Dauntless, preparing for its journey home. Its mission had expanded far beyond a simple investigation of distress signals. It had triggered the birth of something new: an alliance built on truth rather than deception, cooperation rather than worship. Admiral Kong watched the stars emerge in the darkening sky. Somewhere out there, other false gods still ruled. Other developing worlds still suffered under the yoke of those who used advanced technology to claim divinity. But now, they would face not just humanity's determination to protect freedom, but a growing alliance of formerly subjugated species who understood all too well the difference between true power and false gods.